Whew. What's going on? How many consecutive concussions did Dorian and Bull have now? Everyone's been turned to stone. Solus is the White Witch from Narnia.
Et toi ost.
Solus?
Maraskata.
Your forces have failed. Leave now and tell the Canary to trouble me no further.
Wow. Solus? Don't, come on, Solus. What's gonna happen now? Did you just get rid of the anchor?
That should give us more time.
More time?
I suspect you have questions.
Maybe. Just maybe.
The Canary were trying to kill you. I wanted to get here first.
I know. They sought an agent of Fen'harel.
But you are
I'm no one's
Fen'harel.
agent but my own. I fear that the truth is much simpler and much worse than the Canary believe.
You're Fen'harel.
I was Solus first. Fen'harel came later. An insult I took as a badge of pride.
Solus.
The Dread Wolf inspired hope in my friends, and fear in my enemies. Not unlike Inquisitor, I suppose. You also know the burden of a title that all but replaces your name.
I saw the stories as we traveled through the Illuvians. Are they true?
They are closer than the Dalish legends, though still prone to making me into something more than I am.
I'm so sorry, Solus. What you've seen, I can't imagine.
I sought to set my people free from slavery to would-be gods. I broke the chains of all who wished to join me. The false gods called me Fen'harel, and when they finally went too far, I formed the Veil and banished them forever. Thus I freed the Elven people, and in so doing, destroyed their world.
Wow. This is Art's empathy face right now. Art is... Say what you will about the Canary, but Art is an incredibly empathic individual.
The Evan-Urus were elven mages. How did they come to be remembered as gods?
Slowly. It started with a war. War breeds fear. Fear breeds a desire for simplicity. Good and evil, right and wrong, chains of command.
Right.
After the war ended, generals became respected elders, then kings, and finally gods. The Evan-Urus.
How did creating the Veil destroy the world?
You saw the remains of Via Dethara. The library was intrinsically tied to the Fade, and the Veil destroyed it. There were countless other marvels, all dependent on the presence of the Fade, all destroyed. The elven legends of immortality,
Right.
all true.
I was talking about that.
It was not the arrival of humans that caused them to begin aging.
Right, it was you. It was their break from
It was me.
Yeah, I called it.
The
I knew
Veil
it.
took everything from the elves, even themselves.
You said that the elven gods went too far. What did they do that made you move against them?
They killed Mythal. A crime for which an eternity of torment is the only fitting punishment.
I thought Mythal was one of the Evan-Urus.
She was the best of them. She cared for her people. She protected them. She was a voice of reason. And in their lust for power, they killed her.
Wow.
You banished the false gods? You didn't kill them?
You met Mythol, did you not?
Mm-hmm.
The first of my people do not die so easily. The Evanurus are banished forever, paying the ultimate price for their misdeeds.
You love the Fade. Why would you create the Veil to hide it all away?
Because every alternative was worse.
Meaning?
Had I not created the Veil, the Evanurus would have destroyed the entire world.
So all of this, Solas's hope and dreams of removing the veil and forming, you know, bringing back the world and the Fade back as one. That's why. Because a lot of people like Vivienne thought that such an idea would be horrific and terrible, but that's how it was. It was like that before. That's how, I guess, the world naturally was. And this separation between the two, that came after the fact. That's the, I guess, not artificial, but unnatural. That's unnatural. What's happened, according to the lore here, the separation between Fade and the material world is, or the real world as we like to call it, that's the unnatural state of things. I used to think he was a badly dressed Fade nerd. What happens next?
That's the past. What about the future?
I lay in dark and dreaming sleep while countless wars and ages passed. I woke still weak a year before I joined you. My people fell for what I did to strike the Evanurus down. But still, some hope remains for restoration. I will save the elven people, even if it means this world must die.
Why is that necessary?
Why does this world have to die for the elves to return?
A good question, but not one I will answer. You have always shown a thoughtfulness I respected. It would be too easy to tell you too much. I am not Corypheus. I take no joy in this. But the return of my people means the end of yours. It is my fight. You should be more concerned about the Inquisition. Your Inquisition. In stopping the Dragon's Breath, you have prevented an invasion by Qunari forces. With luck, they will return their focus to Tevinter. That should give you a few years of relative peace.
You control the Illuvians now?
Yes. You remember Briala from Halam Shiral?
Yeah.
For a time, she controlled part of the labyrinth. One of my agents was supposed to take it from her, but he did not succeed. I had to override the magic personally. The Qunari stumbled upon this section independently. With them gone, the Illuvians are now mine.
The Qunari said the Inquisition was unknowingly working for agents of Fen'harel.
I gave no orders.
You led us to Skyhold.
Corypheus should have died unlocking my orb. When he survived, my plans were thrown into chaos.
Right.
When you survived, I saw the Inquisition as the best hope this world had of stopping him.
Right.
And you needed a home. Hence, Skyhold.
Makes sense.
You gave your orb to Corypheus?
Not directly. My agents allowed the Venatori to locate it. The orb had built up magical energy while I lay unconscious for millennia. I was not powerful enough to open it.
Right. Yep.
The plan was for Corypheus to unlock it, and for the resulting explosion to kill
Yep.
him. Then I would claim the orb.
Gamer MD83 was right. She called that whole
The
thing.
Magister having learned the secret of effective immortality.
Clever girl. Gamer MD83, clever girl. Everything that Solas just said about it was supposed to kill. He wasn't trying to give it to Corypheus and intending for him to keep it. He was giving it to him because the explosion was supposed to kill him. Clever girl, Gamer MD83. Very well done.
What would have happened if Corypheus had died and you'd recovered the orb?
I would have entered the Fade using the mark you now bear. Then I would have torn down the veil.
Right.
As this world burned in the raw chaos, I would have restored the world of my time. The world of the elves.
If you destroyed the Veil, wouldn't the false gods be freed?
I had plans.
Say it isn't so, Solus. Say it isn't so.
I never thought of you as someone who would do that, Solus.
Thank you. You must understand.
Thank
I
you.
awoke in a world where the Veil had blocked most people's conscious connection to the Fade. It was like walking through a world of tranquil.
We aren't even people to you.
Not at first. You showed me that I was wrong. Again. That does not make what must come next any easier.
You never cared about us. We were the means to an end.
You were people, and you deserved better. Like all the rest I've used in one hopeless battle after another.
What's wrong with the Inquisition?
You created a powerful organization, and now it suffers the inevitable fate of such. Betrayal and corruption.
It's not that simple.
Right.
Do you know how I discovered the Canary plot? The plot I disrupted by leading them to your doorstep. The Canary spies in the Inquisition tripped over my spies in the Inquisition. The Elven Guard who led you to the Canary body? Who intercepted the servant with the Gatlock barrel? Mine.
Why bother disrupting the Canary plot if you're going to destroy the world regardless?
You have shown me that there is value in this world, Inquisitor. I take no joy in what I must do. Until that day comes, I would see those recovering from the breach free of the Qun.
Why?
I know,
Because
why?
I am not a monster. If they must die, I would rather they die in comfort. In any event, it is done.
I'm torn. I don't know what Art would say. He's like torn. He feels sort of betrayed right now. Art feels we're kind of betrayed by all of this. Oh gosh, what would he say? Guys, what do you think Art would say? I'm trying to make sense into... Would he actually tell Solus, you set us both up? Or would he say thanks, not because he's like, oh yeah, thanks for, trying to destroy us and all, but more like, I understand why you're doing it. You have good intentions. Thanks isn't really the right word, though. I don't like either of these. Thanks isn't the right word, and you both set us up isn't the right word either. Yeah, we need a silent option. If there was a silent option, I would have taken it. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how I'm doing this. Andy would say this. Andy would say this. Art would say this.
I guess we owe you for that one, too.
I hope it gives your people some final peace.
There's still the matter of the anchor. It's getting worse.
Yes. I'm sorry. And we are almost out of time.
Where are my other companions? Dorian's not
Eventually
here.
came. Drawing you here gave me the chance to save you. At least for now.
The Inquisition will try to convince Solus to change his plan. The Inquisition will stop Solus even if it means killing him. Art trusts in Solus. And he trusts in himself as well.
You don't need to destroy this world. I'll prove it to you.
I would treasure the chance to be wrong once again, my friend. Take my hand.
Challenge accepted, my friend. Challenge accepted.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too.
Live well, while time remains.
Alright, so now we know who the big bad might be in the next Dragon Age. Which a lot of us kind of figured already based on the original ending of Inquisition. Wow. That is a lot to take in, guys.
Something must be done, but we cannot lose the Inquisition now. We stand on the brink of war with the Qunari.
Yes, because this Solas provoked them in the first place.
The Inquisition did not cause this threat. We informed the Summit of the danger.
The danger posed by Qunari spies inside your organization.
Come on, Tigon,
Without
chill.
our organization, you would not be alive to complain.
True.
No one has forgotten what you have done. But Corypheus is 2 years dead.
If the Inquisition is to continue, it must do so as a legitimate organization, not a glorified mercenary band.
Inquisitor.
The Inquisition will serve Divine Victoria. Efforts against Solas will be stronger, but risk corruption. We will keep the peace. The Inquisition will serve Divine Victoria. Efforts against Solas will be stronger, but risk corruption. The Inquisition will serve we need more oversight. Will serve Divine Victoria. Efforts against Solas will be stronger, but risk corruption. We'll solve this ourselves. The Inquisition will be disbanded. Efforts against Solas will be weaker, but more secure. Our work is done. The Inquisition will be disbanded. Efforts against Solas will be weaker, but more secure. The Inquisition needs to end. The Inquisition will be disbanded. Efforts against Solas will be weaker, but more secure. So going into this DLC, guys, this is what's pretty awesome. I was pretty much ready. I think Art was pretty much ready to lay down his Inquisitor badge and be like, okay, we've completed our purpose, we're done, we don't need the Inquisition. You know, he was ready to do that. He was ready to just tell everybody, you know, go back to your lives. But the fact that Art has so little time left, he doesn't want to leave the world without feeling like he did the best he could to prevent the destruction that Solas was talking about from happening. He couldn't just do that. He can't do that. He wants to be able to prove Solas wrong. And it seems like keeping the Inquisition around is the best chance they have. It's a risk, but, I mean, Solas was making a huge risk too. He's taking a huge risk, destroying the entire world to bring back his people, thinking that that's a far better answer than... Stakes are high. Stakes are really high, guys. I don't know. Inquisition will be disbanded. Efforts against Solas will be weaker, but more secure. Weaker, but more secure. See, a lot of you are saying 4. I see a lot of you saying 4, but Art is not. First of all, he's not really he's not a Chantry guy. Divine, yes, it's Leliana, I know, and Leliana is his friend, I know, but he also sees that Leliana can be a little extreme. Liliana is a little extreme for Art's taste, which is why I think that the 4, like, as awesome as I'm sure it would be to pick that, it doesn't feel like Art would choose that. That feels like one of the last things he would choose. I see it as we will keep the peace. This is really interesting because with also, I'm thinking with Andy, I would think if Andy started this, he would want to keep the Inquisition around. But then after everything has happened here, I think Andy would want to disband the Inquisition. I think he would, especially with what little time he has. See, Art wants to spend the little time he has to try to prove Solus wrong. Andy wants to, you know, use what time he has to try to solve this themselves with, you know, because he's stubborn like that. So it's interesting how that flip-flops. I feel like that would flip-flop. This is a tough decision. There's so many ways that this could go, but you know what? You know what? My gut feeling is this.
You all know what this is. A writ from Divine Justinia authorizing the formation of the Inquisition. We pledge to close the breach, find those responsible, and restore order, with or without anyone's approval. I'm proud to say we accomplished that goal. We will honor the sacrifices of those who gave their lives in defense of what we stood for, and still stand for. Because our work is not done. Where we led in war, we will now serve in peace. The Inquisition will act as Divine Victoria's personal honor guard. Answering directly to her, we will transition from a military force into a peacekeeping organization. My own adventuring days may be done, but the Inquisition and its mission will continue.
I like that. And what happened to Art's arm? Oh no, did Art's hand just get amputated? Is that how Solus helped him? He took off his arm? Wow, I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. Okay, where's Dorian going? Oh, everybody's just kind of... Alright, everybody's kind of... Nice. Hey, Dorian. Interesting. Very interesting. Over the next several months, the Inquisition carefully gave over many of the duties it had held. As the Divine's personal guard and peacekeeping force, the Inquisition shrank to a more manageable size. Many who had served went home, though the remaining force was still enough to give pause to any who might threaten the Divine's plans. Those who served the new Inquisition were tested and checked thoroughly, in the hope of ferreting out any more spies within its ranks. With the dragon's breath disrupted, and any hope of a swift victory dashed, the Qunari retreated back to the north. Few knew what debates were waged in Parvalin, but not long after the Exalted Council, the Qunari launched new attacks against Tevinter. Their aggression caught the already unstable Imperium off guard. Tevinter was soon mired in a war many feared could spread across Thedas. The Exalted Council remained intact, advising Divine Victoria on important matters. Cassandra served for several years. While she often disagreed with Leliana's policies, the former right and left hands of the Divine shared a mutual respect and worked well together. Cassandra also spent time in the Hunterhorn Mountains north of Orlais, where she worked to rebuild the Seekers. For a time, the new Seekers remained reclusive, showing no interest in worldly affairs and working to a purpose few outside their order could guess. The end of the Inquisition, as it had been, sent shockwaves through the College of Enchanters. Madame de Fer ably played on the mage's fears. Her followers united to build a new circle, with Vivienne as its Grand Enchanter, in direct competition with the college. What the circle lacked in numbers, they made up for in political connections. Soon, they were a force to be reckoned with. The two institutions settled into an uneasy coexistence across the south, vying for power. After the Exalted Council, Leliana devoted herself fully to the Sunburst throne and her dream of reshaping the Chantry. Within a year, she removed restrictions surrounding Chantry priesthood, allowing men and women of all races to be initiated and ordained. This decree was followed swiftly by her decision to return the Canticle of Shartan to the canonical chant, a move that divided Andrastians deeply. A rebellion to renounce her and return the Chantry to its former state arose, beginning first in Orlais, then spreading to other parts of Thedas. As quickly as it began, the rebellion faltered. While most agreed that the rebellion collapsed due to infighting, some whispered that the Divine herself engineered its failure. The rebellion fractured into a number of separate cells, some of which limped on for several months before disappearing into obscurity. Sarah left the Inquisition with scarcely more ties than when she began, disappearing back into her confusing weave of favors and friends. After seeing the world brought to the brink by arrogance and pride, it was a blessing to return to normal, however strange and normal it might be. With frequent visits to her whittle, of course. Perhaps most unnerving was Sarah's standing offer to the Divine. When the knobs pee about with your left hand or right, call on Red Jenny to give them 2 fingers. Varric returned to Kirkwall, where, as Viscount, he resumed his work rebuilding the damaged city infrastructure. Under his rule, the city-state finally resumed its place as the major trade hub of the Free Marches. He continued to ignore all mail from both the Merchants Guild and the Prince of Starkhaven. With the Inquisition in its new role, the Bull's Chargers returned to taking jobs throughout Orlais and Ferelden. Fighting demons and clearing out the remains of venatory forces, the Iron Bull did his part to restore order to Thedas. After the Inquisition transitioned to a peacekeeping role, Cullen continued to serve as commander of its forces. Under his leadership, the Inquisition protected the Divine's interests while enforcing new standards of security. Cullen also expanded the Chantry's treatment for Templars whose minds were taken by lyrium, as well as those who wished to cease lyrium usage. And as chaos reigned in the north, and threats to the Divine lurked in every shadow, Cullen remained ready to serve.